Very good. I'm going to share my screen here. And we're going to put this into presentation mode. Very good. And Emma, do you just see my screen? You don't see my notes and everything, do you?
Nope, just the title slide.
Perfect. Very good. So welcome everybody. We're going to talk to you today about the ColorLuxe Eye Shadow Sticks. And I think you're really going to love learning about them. They are by far one of my favorite launches that we've done in the last few years. They're just so much excitement around them. They're also really easy to use, and the colors are absolutely beautiful. So let's start, before we go into the ColorLuxe Eyeshadow Sticks, let's talk a little bit about the brand. For those of you who might be new to Jane Iredale and aren't familiar with our brand, I always like to give a little bit of background information so people can learn more about who we are as a brand and what we do. Many people think that Jane might have been a doctor or a nurse because we're sold in a lot of medical practices. You might have heard about us through your dermatologist or your plastic surgeon. We're in a lot of medical practices around the world, but Jane was not in the medical industry. She was a casting agent in the show business industry. She worked alongside Steven Spielberg, Francis Ford Coppola. She was very accomplished in her field. And what she saw was that the actors and actresses she was casting for roles were coming back with horrible skin from the makeup that they had to wear on set. So she decided to create makeup that was good for the skin. This was in 1994. So this year, we're celebrating 30 years in business, and we're so excited about that. And it's a really wonderful, I think, achievement for us to kind of sustain and stay in the industry for all of this time and still be relevant as a brand. It makes me so proud that we've gotten to do this. So let's talk a little bit about what makes our brand special. When Jane created the brand, she really wanted to do it without using all of the top sensitizers that are in traditional makeup. But just as important as that, she wanted to make it a quality product. So when we're creating our products, we're using the highest grade of minerals available. And there are a lot of minerals such as titanium dioxide, zinc oxide, iron oxides in our formulas. And then we also enrich the formulas with pharmaceutical grade antioxidants and vitamins. And whenever possible, we use certified organic botanicals. And what that means is the plant extracts and the essential oils that we're using have never been contaminated with insecticides. They've never been genetically modified. Everything is clean. Just as important as what we put into it are the things that we leave out. So we don't use talc. We don't use genetically modified organisms. We don't use mineral oil. We don't use parabens, which are synthetic preservatives used to increase the shelf life of makeup. We don't use phthalates, which are plasticizers and emulsifiers that are in traditional makeup. And we don't use synthetic fragrances or perfumes. We don't use these ingredients because a lot of them can be irritating to the skin, causing redness and reactions. Some of them can even be endocrine disruptors, affecting the endocrine system and our hormones, which is something we don't want to mess with. So our commitment to you about every product that we make is that it's going to be clean. We're also a sustainable brand. We follow the 4 R's of sustainability. We refuse, reduce, reuse, and recycle. We refuse to use plastic packaging wherever possible because we know it's not good for the environment. We reduce the use of virgin plastic and opt to use recycled plastic, recycled paper, or post-consumer resin instead. We refill and reuse our componentry over and over again. And we recycle in our own homes as employees of the company and at our corporate office in Great Barrington, Massachusetts. Everything, even about the building that our company is housed in, which is a Gold LEED building, is good for the environment. So that's how we roll at Jane Iredale. So let's talk about our star product today, which is the ColorLuxe Eyeshadow Sticks. You've probably already seen them in some advertisements. We're getting lots of good attention from them, not just in advertising, but also through influencers, bloggers, and people that have already purchased the product and are trying it. We're getting lots of good reviews. What this is essentially a color eyeshadow stick that's retractable. It comes in a wide array of colors. And when you're looking at it, you can see that there's a lot of features and benefits to the way that it works. It's very versatile in that you can use it as an eyeshadow, you can use it as an eyeliner, you can use it as an eyeshadow base, putting it all over the eye and then putting your powder eyeshadows on top of it. It's also very long lasting. And when you put it on, it doesn't go on just sheer. You can see the pigment on your eye, so you get a good wash of color when you put it on. It's easy to blend. It doesn't pull on the skin when you're putting it on. It's a very versatile product. The other thing that I love about it is that it has a very unique componentry. And I'd like to show you what the componentry looks like because it's quite fascinating. We have a retractable pencil. So when you turn the base, you can extend the product upward so that you never have to sharpen it if you don't want to. It comes out when you first use it as a very rounded tip, but at the end you can see that there is a sharpener, so you can sharpen the tip and make it finer so that it'll work more like a pencil or a liner. It really just depends on what capacity you would like to use this product in. That sharpener is also very effective for creating a very fine tip or a medium tip that's kind of in between rounded and sharpened. So it's very versatile in its application. So when you're putting it on, you'll see that the product goes onto the eye quite visibly. As I'm putting it on a model, I can always see where the product is and then go in and tap and blend with my fingers to get a smooth application and a flawless final effect. So let's talk a little bit about the individual colors that are in here. Alabaster is the first color that we're going to talk about. This is a great color for highlighting or as an eyeshadow base tone. One of the things I love it is that it's matte. It's not shimmery. So it's really good not just to put all over the eye, but also to use on the inner rim of the eye as a brightener for the eye, for the actual eye line. The Americano is a deep, rich chocolate brown that's gorgeous for shadowing the eye, for lining the eye, or for defining. It's very smudgeable, very blendable, and it has an absolutely rich color to it. The next one is bronze, which has a luminous, smoky bronze tone that can be used all over or as a base shadow. It also, what I love about the bronze is I love lining with it to create a really soft focus appearance on the skin. I think that that can turn out really nicely when you're trying to create a very sultry look on the eye. Hold on just a second. I just want to turn off my iPad here so that it isn't dinging while I'm making this presentation. But I love the bronze and I use it a lot. You're also going to see it in the demonstration that I do on the model that we're working on today. Dove Gray is one of my favorites, and I have to say this one's been in the need for a while. We needed a good dove kind of gray that's right on the cusp between brown and gray. It's a soft matte gray that works great as a shadow, a contour, or a liner. And I want you to look at these beautiful editorials. A little shout out to our marketing department at these beautiful images with the models and the diagrams of the eyes on there. This is all the work of our wonderful marketing department that's done this. Now, Gatsby is a very rich golden beige that can be used all over the whole eye and just have it as one color. Just line with it and put a little mascara and you can walk right out the door. Or you can use it as an eyeshadow base or as a highlighter, especially on deeper or tanner skin tones. The Ivy is another one that we haven't had anything like this ever before, and I think it's an absolutely beautiful color. It's a rich, shimmering green that can be used as a liner or as a shadow. And again, one of my favorite ways to apply this one is I'll draw a line of it along the lash line, and then I'll go back in and smudge it with a brush to create a nice smoky effect. Now, the Midnight is a dark, matte, smoky black gray. So what I think you're going to like about it is that it's not as dark as a basic black or a true black. It's right on the cusp between black and gray, which makes it perfect for lining and giving intensity without being overdone. You can also smudge it very easily. So again, as a liner or a shadow. Moonstone is another light color that's very intense and bright, but it has a little bit of golden shimmer in it. So think of it as a cream equivalent to oyster powdered eyeshadow. So it's going to go on, it's going to give a little bit of a shimmer and a luminosity, and you can also use it as an eye base or a highlighter. Rosé is another one that's been really, really popular. People are loving how kind of soft and rosy it looks all over the eye. A lot of people are using this as a singular eyeshadow from the lash line all the way up to the brow bone and getting great results with it. I love using it just on the lid and then adding other shadows to it, but all over or as a highlighter. And then finally, the saddle, which is, I think, one of our most useful colors because it's not shimmery. It's a matte terracotta nude tone that can be used all over the lid and then highlighted and contoured to create a nice, warm, beautiful, natural eye. So great for shaping, for contouring, or as an eye base shade. Also really pretty in the brows as a redheaded brow color. I've done that a couple of times on people. So now let's look at our model that we used for the demonstration. And I did this makeup myself in my studio, and I want you to notice all the features of her before we go into the details of the application. Her name is Chris. She's 20 years old. She has combination skin, and you can see a little bit of a breakout going on her skin. She gets hormonal breakouts. She likes full coverage, but she likes her skin to have a matte finish. She doesn't want any shine because she gets very oily, and she loves a dramatic eye. So my objective for her was to kind of follow through with all of those things that she wanted. So I started by using our Beyond Matte Liquid Foundation. I put some of our mattifying primer, the Smooth Affair mattifying underneath it, but the Beyond Matte Liquid Foundation also has a primer built in if you want to use it just by itself. And one of the things you'll notice is as I'm putting it on, it doesn't really go on super matte. But what I love about this product is that it has ingredients in it that work directly with your sebaceous glands to keep you from overproducing oil throughout the day. So it'll keep you from getting too shiny, but it doesn't look dry on your skin. And as I blended it on, you could see that it goes on very smoothly. Then I go back into the areas where she's broken out with a little bit of our Pure Match Concealer number 3. Now, Chris has a very light complexion, so number 3 is the perfect color for her. In the Beyond Matte, I think I use number 3 as well, or number 2. And I'm putting this on with the same brush that I put on the Beyond Matte Liquid Foundation. Just focusing it in the areas where she might be breaking out. And you can see as I blend it out, it just blends seamlessly right into that Beyond Matte foundation. I'm also going to go in with a lighter color of concealer, number 2, and I'm going to take this concealer under the eyes and pull it out from the under eye all the way out onto the top of the cheekbone. And I think that this is a great way to get a gorgeous result if you want to really smoke out the eyes and have light underneath it. But remember that when you do this kind of an application, it's important that you don't just put the light under the eyes. We also want to put the light in a couple of other areas of the face. So I finish going under the eye area with it. And I take it, notice that I'm not just taking it in the eye area, but I'm pulling it out onto the top of the cheekbone, all the way to her hairline. And guys, if anybody has any questions while we're looking at this, I want you to feel free to type them into the chat box so that we can answer them for you. And notice I put the concealer on with my foundation brush, and then I just go back in and I tap and blend to smooth it out. I also take it between the brows and into the middle of the forehead and down the center of the nose. It looks like we've got a question coming through. Emma, do you see what the question is?
Yes. Natalie said, I have a very neutral undertone and use only neutral Jane Iredale face products. What color would be best for me for an everyday natural look for me? Is that, Natalie, is this for the Beyond Matte, Pure Match, or ColorLuxe Eyeshadow Stick? Eye stick.
For the eyeshadow stick? Well,
Mhm.
the most neutral one that we have, the neutral ones that we have are the bronze, the moonstone. Those shimmers are very neutral. To be quite honest, they're all quite universal. I would go by the color of your eye and how intense or dark you want it to be. Like for example, if I have, and I'm going to show this on a slide later, but if I have somebody with green eyes, I love going with the rosé because that reddish undertone that's in there gives a really nice effect against the green eye. It's the opposite on the color spectrum. If I have a blue eye, I love using the Gatsby because that golden tone that's in there looks really pretty against the blue. So now you can see I'm finished with my highlighting with the Pure Match Concealer. And look how beautiful that brightness is. By putting it under the eyes, out, down the center of the nose, and on the chin too, you can see that her face looks more evenly highlighted and she doesn't just look light around the eyes. Because I don't want her to look like she's been in the tanning bed with the goggles on. I want it to be bright all over the face. What are the other questions we have?
Yes. So Kathy is asking you to repeat what you said about adding a lighter concealer under the eyes. Basically, she wants to know what the best way is to disguise or camouflage darker under eye circles.
Yeah, for the under eye circles, if there's darkness, the first thing you want to do is you want to neutralize the darkness by using a peach concealer. Don't go with a super light concealer if you have a really dark circle because it'll just turn gray. You want to use a concealer that has some peach in it because the peach will neutralize the gray, black, blue undertone. And then you can go in with a lighter colored concealer to highlight after you've done that. And those highlights go under the eyes out, down the center of the nose, and on the chin, in all of the areas that you can see that I've put them. Under the eyes out, down the center of the nose, and on the chin. What's the next question?
So there's a couple questions about essentially this kind of look on more mature skin. So a couple people are saying, as a senior, concealer is difficult with collecting in creases. This amount of product seems so heavy. And then Amy is asking if we're going to show a model that's older than 20 so we can see how everything works with wrinkles.
So I do have a model that's older than 20, and her name is Charlie, and I work on her a lot. I don't have her in this video footage, but what I can do is I can pull her up, see if I can find her and pull her up on my Instagram page. That's the only thing that I can recommend. Do you think that that would be, because I just posted some images of her using the eyeshadow sticks. The thing that I want to focus on when you're asking about concealing with mature skin, I want to clarify something. Any concealer, no matter how good it is, will settle into creases and fine lines around the eyes. No matter how expensive the concealer is, no matter what, you have to do your maintenance, which is tapping around the eyes throughout the course of the day. That keeps everything looking nice and fresh, and it keeps the makeup from settling into fine lines. And when it does settle, you just keep tapping throughout the day. In the same way that you would touch up your lipstick or touch up your mascara, you're going to tap out the under eyes multiple times throughout the day. So the next thing I'm going to show you here is the Pure Press base. I went over this with because she wanted an even more matte complexion. And I want you to see I'm pressing and rolling Pure Press base with my flock sponge rather than dusting it on with a brush. And look as I'm putting it on, as I tap it into her skin, notice how it's not just covering, it is changing the texture of her skin, literally making the skin look smoother. It's like taking Adobe Photoshop to your face. People love the way that this makes the skin look smoother. And that's important. So after I blend this out and put the Pure Press base, we have a much more smooth matte complexion. And then I go into her eyebrows. Now I like to do the eyebrows before I do the rest of the color, just to kind of frame the eyes out, and then I'll know how intense I want the brows to be. I'm using the Auburn Precision Brow Pencil. And notice that as I blend this on, that it fills in the hair really nicely. What I like about it is it doesn't look drawn on or overdone. It's a very subtle color that really just makes her brows look more dense. Because I don't want them to look like they were stamped on by some kind of machine. I want them to look natural. Thus, the spoolie blender at the other end also helps with that process. And then you can see at the end how nice and smooth they look. Now, I go in with a deeper color of Pure Press base instead of a bronzer to bronze her. And the reason for that is that I don't want her eyes to be overwhelmed by dark bronzer. And because she has a very light complexion, even the lightest bronzers on a very, very light complexion can sometimes end up looking a little bit orange or too dark. So a darker color of Pure Press base is a great way to contour the face without making it look heavy or overdone. So you can see how natural that looks, but it's still contouring and popping her cheekbones and her jawline. And this is the final look. And now you can see when we go in with that bronze eyeshadow stick, I'm starting by putting it all over the eyelid. And then I just blend and apply all over up into the crease. And then once I get it where I want it to be, I'm just going to go back in and tap and blend with my eye, with my finger. And you can see how smoothly it creates that nice blended effect. Our objective is to create a radiance, or I'm sorry, a gradients that goes darkest at the lash line and lighter as it goes up. Let's go look closer now. And you can see as I'm putting it on, I'm focusing it really all beneath the crease or beneath the brow bone. And then I go and blend it with my finger to get the rest of the product up onto the brow bone. And I see the question coming up while we're talking about this. For women who are 45, where's the best place to apply blush, bronzer, apples of cheek, or higher up on the cheekbones? So it's not about age. It's about the fact that right now for blush placement has gone higher up back up onto the top of the cheek and the temple, like we did in the 70s. Apples of the cheek is no longer on trend. So by doing it, it creates a nice lifting effect to the skin anyway. So I recommend a high-placed blush. For bronzer, we're really placing it around the outer portions of the face and under the cheekbone. Don't go too low with it. That's my recommendation always. So
a couple questions, which I think is now's a good time for, because bronze is a shimmer shade within the collection. So I think it's Johanna and another viewer are asking basically how the shimmer shades work on crepey skin, and how to kind of avoid smudging, specifically when you're using the eyeliner or the eyeshadow stick as a liner.
Yeah. So when we're lining with a shimmery shade like this, you can do this on somebody any age. I'll tell you that. You don't have to worry about it looking, because it's not a powder shadow. You don't have to worry about it settling down into creases and fine lines and spreading out the way that a lot of powder eyeshadows might. And you're not putting it over such a broad area that it would enhance wrinkles and lines. So you can put this right on the lash line, even though it's a shimmer, and it'll look very attractive, even on a woman in her 60s, 70s, 80s in age.
Okay. And then a few more questions about the sticks. So, Laura is asking, does using Smooth Affair on the eyes before the shadow sticks help with creasing?
Well, to be quite honest, I haven't seen the shadow sticks crease at all. When I put them on the eyes, they really stay in place quite well. That's why I'm saying that you can use them as an eyeshadow base and put them on and then put powder eyeshadows right on top of them, and it'll help to keep the eyeshadow in place as well. I mean, these really have a great ingredient deck that makes them stay in place quite well.
Yeah. So there's a clarifying question. from both actually. So the person who asked about shimmer for more mature eyes is asking whether or not you should put the shimmer on the lids or just use it kind of along the lash line, like you said.
So if you're using shimmer and you have wrinkles on your eyes, I would keep the shimmer just on the lash line and not spread it out too far. But again, you can use it as an eyeshadow base, even if it's a shimmer, and then go back over it with a matte shadow in the areas that you want it to be less noticeable. I'll tell you now, on most women, I like to put light on the inner corner of the eyes next to the nose. If it's a woman over 45, I typically don't put shimmer in there. I will usually use a matte shadow on the inner corner of the eye next to the nose to put that highlight in there. That's just, it's a given that that's the best way to do it. So.
Okay. Cool. And then Johanna is just clarifying, but will it smudge, especially in the summer, or if I have the shadow / eyeliner on for a long time? Like you said, I haven't noticed it do that, like smudge or crease either, but
in the heat of the summer, if you're in Arizona or Texas where it's going to get, 105 this year, I'll be interested to see. I haven't experienced heat enough to see it coming off on people, but I have a feeling that this is going to be a star product this summer because the integrity of it when it sticks to the skin. Remember, it goes on like a cream, but it dries to a powder and it sticks to the skin. So I think you're going to be very pleased with the performance of it. So this is just the finished look with nothing but the eyeshadow sticks on, and we're using only the bronze. So you can see it below and above the eyes. She could just put mascara on it and then walk out the door with that, and it would look absolutely gorgeous. But we're not going to stop there. We're going to take it a step further, and I'm going to go into it now with some Dove Gray. And I'll have to tell you guys, something that was an unexpected surprise with this is that the Dove Gray actually picks up the color of her eye really beautiful, because when you put it next to her eye, it goes more gray, or I'm sorry, it goes more green when you put it next to her eye color. So I thought that was really cool. You can see that little bit of green coming through on it. And I think that that's so beautiful. And I'm not a big fan of doing monochromatic, matching the eye color, but this color looks really beautiful with green eyes. So I was very pleased with it. Then after I do this Dove Gray, I'm going to go into the corner of her eyes with the Midnight, which is the black gray. And I this time, rather than using my fingers to blend it, I decided to use a brush. And I want you to see how easy this product is to blend with a brush. Because I put it on with my stick directly, and looky there, how beautifully it's creating that gradient effect. Again, gradient meaning going from lightest to darkest with no lines of demarcation. And I watch closely on the other eye. I put some on there, and I gooped it a little bit, so you can see there's a little bit of a messiness that I did. But as soon as I went back in and blended it, look at how smooth it made it. So this product, as you can see, when you blend it, you get a nice smoothness to the application. Absolutely gorgeous on the eyes. So now we can go in and we can line it with our basic black pencil. And when I do lining, I will typically line on the inner rim of the eye when I'm going for a little smokier look. So I'm tight lining, which means I'm putting the liner up under the lashes. If you're not comfortable with doing that, then go ahead and just put the liner on top. But this can give you a nice intensity. I also went in and lined the bottom waterline as well. So this was what it looked like when it was done being lined. And then I go in with our mascara just on the top lashes. A little trick of mine is I like to put a business card behind the lashes to make sure that I don't get any mascara up on the eyelid or on the brow bone. And look how gorgeous that absolutely looks. So this is the finished look on her eyes. And we're going to finish the application by going in and lining the lips with a little bit of Spice lip pencil, which is our most nude lip pencil that we make. It's kind of a go-to for a lot of people. And Chris told me that she didn't want to do a dark lip for this. So what we did was we did just a soft, light lip with this. And that's common. A lot of people will ask, should you do dark lips with dark eyes or dark or light lips with dark eyes? Right now on the runways, we're still seeing the trend of dark eyes and dark lips together, but a lot of people prefer, what I find with most of my customers is they want darkness either on the eye or on the lips, but not on both. So if I'm going to do a dark eye, I will typically go back in and do a lighter lip with it. So, but look at how gorgeous this looks when you put it next to the color. This is the color Toffee, which is one of our most popular ColorLuxe lipstick colors. And the ColorLuxe lipsticks launched this year. We've had a great reception for them, a wonderful ingredient deck. They go on creamy, and there's a stain underneath the lip color. So when the color's wearing off, the stain is kicking in. And then we finish it with the Hydra Pure Snowberry Lip Gloss to just give it a little bit of extra luminosity in the very center of the lip. And that is the finished look with everything all together. And you can see it just looks striking on her skin. And I wanted to give you guys a side by side so you could all see kind of what it looks like next to each other. And you can see the makeup really made a difference. And one of the things that I love to hear that she said when we were done with this application, she said, oh my gosh, it even with all of this coverage, it doesn't feel like I'm wearing anything. Even with the multiple eyeshadow sticks on my eyes do not feel heavy. And, you know, that is a distinctive Jane Iredale feedback statement that we get from people. People love how light everything feels. So it makes me so happy that people love it. This is Chris, and I'm so glad that we were able to do makeup on her. Now, I want to just share, again, a recap of the eye recommendations, and then I'm going to stop sharing my screen, and I want to just show you the sharpening so you can see it. The Blue Eyes, Saddle, Gatsby, and Americano are my 3 favorite recommendations for that. For green eyes, Rosé, Bronze, and Midnight. And for brown eyes, Dove Gray, Ivy, and Midnight are the best ones, I think, to use. So let me show you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen for just a second. And I just want to show you all how easy it is to sharpen these and kind of the versatility that you can get from the pencils themselves. So when I'm using it, I can get the sharpener from the other end and just pull it out. And what I like to do is I like to take the sharpener out of the lid so that I have a little bit more control. And I put it on there and I just simply turn it lightly so that I can get a nice sharp tip. Turning it lightly. And you can see it's as sharp as a pencil. So people love the versatility of that. When you're done, I highly recommend you get the pencil sharpener and you wipe it with a tissue, because it will gather a lot of the product in there, and then it'll get everywhere when you try to use it again if you don't clean the sharpener in between uses. And then when you're done, you can just put the sharpener back into the lid and insert it back into the pencil. So it's ready to go. So with this sharp tip like this, you can create a smooth line that looks nice and sharp. The other way you can do it is, if you want to make it look even sharper, you can go in with like the angle brow brush, which I love to use. Just pick the product up off there with the brush, and you can also get a thin line like so. And then if you wanted to use it as a shadow, but you didn't want to touch it to your eye, it's perfectly acceptable to go in with a brush, with an eyeshadow brush, and you can create a soft kind of a smoky, smooth application with the eyeshadow brush. So it's very versatile. Eyeliner, eyeshadow, eye base, however you want to use it. It's a lot of fun and you get great results from using it that way. So what other questions do we have, Emma?
We have a bunch. So you're all good though. So firstly, I want to say that Carrie said that she had it on in 104 degrees in South Texas and it did not budge, it being the sticks. So it's a
Very
great
good. That's what I like to hear.
Yes. Okay, so let's start from the top. So Laura has a non-eyeshadow stick related question. So I figured we'd get that one first. So she says, if I use satin pure press base, what color would work as a contour and a bronzer? That was in relation to the using a deeper pure press base shade as your contour.
Well, if you wear satin, then you're deep enough that you can wear our Pure Bronze Matte Bronzer. And I have to tell you, the Pure Bronze Matte Bronzer is by far, I think it might very well be my favorite bronzer that I've ever used in my entire makeup career. I mean, I've been a makeup artist for 37 years, and that bronzer, what I love about it is that it looks like skin, and the color is a perfect balance between kind of beige and terracotta. So when you put it on, it contours under the cheekbones, like up in the temples, along the jawline. You can contour your nose with it, but it doesn't look orange or red. It just looks like skin, but darker. So, and it also gives a beautiful sun-kissed look, and it's a gorgeous color. So the light in the Pure Bronze Matte Bronzer is one of my favorites. So I think that that's one that you'll definitely like.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Shawn. So Terry is asking, on more mature hooded eyes, should you use a darker color like the bronze on the mobile lid or only above the crease or on the outer lid?
What I would do with a hooded eye is I would get the bronze, because remember, the bronze is even though it's a deeper color, it's a sheer color. So you can see through it, and there's a little bit of luminosity that plays with light when you put it on. My recommendation, try this at home and see if you like it. Get it on your hooded eye and take it all the way up to the brow bone. And make it darkest closer to your lash line. And gradually, as you're putting it on, blend it all the way up almost to the brow bone, and then go back in and tap it and blend it, tap it and blend it, so that it's all over the entire eye. And that way you're looking at your hooded eye as more of one color all over. And then you can go in with a little bit of light in the inner corner with a matte color like Bone or French Vanilla Pure Pressed Base or Pure Pressed Eyeshadow, and a little bit up in the highest point of the arch of the brow. But that's a great way to give kind of a less attention to the actual hood of the eye. The big mistake that people do with hooded eyes is they go and try to create a crease or enhance the crease when it's already fallen, and that just makes it look more obvious. The other thing is, don't limit yourself to a horizontal application plane. People think they're supposed to go 1, 2, 3. Darken the crease, medium on the lid, light on the brow bone. Don't be afraid to go 1, 2, 3, darkest on the outer eye, lightest on the inner eye. And what that does is it pulls the eyes apart and opens them up, and it takes the attention away from the horizontal lines that have a tendency to flatten the eye. So what's the best way to, what is she saying? What did it say?
I think try pure press base. Best way to, Elizabeth, I think there's a typo in there. Would you mind just correcting that? So a touch up.
Touch up Pure Press Base throughout the day. Well, before you go putting on more Pure Press Base, spritz with your hydration spray first, because very often that refreshes it, and then you don't have to put as much as you thought you did. But I carry my handy brush with me. That's what I do. And I wear Pure Press Base every day of my life. I don't walk out of the house without it. I usually wear Golden Glow, or sometimes I like to wear Riviera because I like to look like I'm tan. But I'll dust it on with my handy brush, and then I spritz with my hydration spray. And halfway through the day, when I feel like my makeup might be looking a little dry or cakey, I'll spritz with my hydration spray, and that just refreshes it and makes it look good again. And then if I have to, I'll dust on with a little more Pure Press Base and spritz again. So,
Okay, so we have a couple more questions about eye color. So the first from Sarah is asking what's good for brown-eyed people, which you went through.
Yeah.
Please
Just
share
a
again.
general rule for brown eyes is if somebody has a cool brown eye, or I'm sorry, a warm brown eye, think of the base tone of a brown eye. It's copper, orange, red. Those are all the base tones that are underneath brown. So when you look at a brown eye in the light, very often you can see the bits of orange and copper that are in there. So if you want to enhance a brown eye, you don't want to go with brown and copper and colors that make it look like the same color because it'll just look monochromatic. I mean, if you want to do a really natural eye, you can do that. But if you really want to pop the brown in that eye, you go to the opposite end of the color spectrum from orange and copper, which is blue, gray, platinum, silver, cool tones. Grays and cool tones will make a brown eye look even more vivid of an orange. And that's how you pop that brown. So for a
Awesome.
green eye, purple, of course, violet, colors like that. And for a blue eye, copper, orange, and bronzy tones.
Okay, and a couple questions about gray eyes. Is that the same as blue? Would you recommend the same as blue?
Yeah, with a gray eye, gray eyes are kind of a wild card. You can go really, really like red and orange on them if you want to, and it makes them tweak a little bit more to make them more gray. But the other thing that I see some people do is they'll go monochromatic with a gray eye and do gray eyeshadow, and it just kind of gives that steel look, which is really cool on some people. Just remember, don't go too blue with your eyeshadow if you're going to do a blue shadow, because if the blue of the shadow is bluer than your eye, then it'll make your eye look grayer rather than bluer. If you're trying to make your eyes look blue. If you want to make a gray eye look more blue, use gold, orange, copper, colors like that. If you want to make it look steely gray, then just use darker colors next to it, like dark gray, charcoal, colors like that.
Perfect.
Oh,
Okay.
could Shawn share the mature model, please? Hold on,
Oh,
let me see if I can queue up my Instagram because I have um I have it here. I think I can bring it up on my computer screen and I can show everybody. Now, I don't know how it's going to look like on, or what it's going to look like on the computer screen, but um so, oh, you know what I have? Let me just see if I can. Hold on just a second, guys. Um, all right. I'm going to show you guys some footage of, this is my friend Charlie. Hold on just a second. I'm going to see if I can stretch this out and make it look larger so you guys can see it. I'm going to share my screen. Share screen. Aha, here we go. So this is Charlie. Can y'all see this?
yep.
All right, I'm just going to show you. So here I'm lining her eyes with a black pencil. But what I used on her was the Midnight. And I'm using the bone eyeshadow on the inner corners of her eyes. So I lined her eyes with Midnight underneath, and I had the Dove Gray. So all matte shadows look really good on a mature eye because they don't bring out the texture. So that's kind of my go-to when I'm working on a mature eye, is I like to use a darker color on Charlie, but I'm not afraid to use, hold on, let me see if I can get, yeah, let's do this. Yeah, nope, hold on. You can see here I was cutting in her brows with a little bit of brow pencil, or with a concealer. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can, there we go. So here I'm cutting in her brows, and this is the finished eye. And I also did a little bit of lashes on Charlie because she's not afraid to do dramatic eyes. So this is the finished smoky eye. And again, it's dove gray with midnight and then a little bit of other colors. And this is the final look that I did. I did a really dark lip on her. She's not afraid. She likes to wear deep lips. And then I went in and I glossed it with an upcoming gloss that we're going to be launching.
Pretty.
Oh my gosh.
So gorgeous.
Oh, that's her. This is, hold on. Yeah, this is a product that we're going to be launching in the fall. You can see that shine on her lips. I wonder where that came from, that beautiful shine. Okay, I better stop sharing my screen. So I'm giving you information that you shouldn't be seeing, everybody. But you can see, like, don't be afraid to put a good amount of color. Charlie's 78 years old, so she's not afraid to wear eyes and color and lots of stuff. So that I'm mixing all of that footage down because I'm getting ready to share it on my Instagram. So it'll be on there in a couple of days. Or probably tomorrow. My Instagram, for those of you who want to watch it, is the neck up at Instagram. So that's THENECKUP, because that's where I do all my work, is from the neck up. So that's my Instagram handle. So any questions or comments?
Yes, I just put your Instagram handle in the chat for anyone who
Okay,
wants
good.
to follow Shawn. And we have 3 more questions. That's so nice. Okay, first of all, Carol asked, she complimented my eyes and asked me what I was using. It made my night. It was so nice. I was telling Shawn before that I used bronze on my kind of lids and up to my crease, and then alabaster on my brow bone and inner corner, because I use these shadow sticks almost every day, but I usually use them in a much more kind of subtle way. And so I wanted to try and show them in a more intense way. So that was very nice.
Yeah.
And then someone else said, do you guys offer these classes often? This is my first one and it's great. And then asked, please do classes for older people. So we do them usually with each launch that we have. And usually actually Charlie is the model for them. So
Yeah.
they are, you get to see the products in action on more mature skin. So
do we have any
keep-
pre-recorded ones that are for any recorded
Yes.
ones of the previous ones we've done?
Yes, so you can follow us on YouTube and find them there. You will also get a recording of this video sent to your email tomorrow. So you should be able to get it there. But let me ask a question and then I'll go find the link to our other records. So,
Okay.
okay, so Kathy is asking about the look you did on Chris and asked if you used a blush on her.
Oh, you know what? I didn't do any blush on Chris. I just did the darker color of Pure Press Base as a bronzer. She didn't want any blush. She wanted it to be all about her eyes and a nude lip. So and it's weird because I'm the kind of person that says you have to have some color on your cheeks, but she wanted a very like monotone face so that the eyes would pop. So I let her do that. But that's good. Good question. Yeah.
It is a good question. I was like, oh, I have to ask Shawn that live because I don't think I saw it, but I don't remember it. Okay, so Debbie is saying, what is your opinion on nude eyeliner on the bottom waterline? I was told to use that instead of black eyeliner because I'm 55. So kind of a neutral color on the waterline, which we've talked about with these pencils, right?
So yeah, if you're going to use nude, don't use our nude lip pencil because it's kind of like a brownish tan color and that'll be too dark in your waterline. But where you could use the nude pencil or we also make a taupe eye pencil that's really pretty. You can line underneath the eye with it right on the lashes and it gives a very soft look. But before you go investing in any of our actual pencils, my recommendation, you're watching the ColorLuxe Eye Shadow Sticks presentation today. The color that's called Saddle. Let me see if I have it here. The Saddle, I think, is one of the most beautiful colors you can line your eyes with because it's so nude. Look, and I'm just going to do this so you guys can see it. The Saddle, look up at the ceiling, is a color that will enhance the under eye without looking like you're wearing color. You can see it It just gives a little bit of depth along the lash line, and it doesn't look like anything, but it defines the eye and brings it out. Let's do the other eye. You can see there's nothing under there right now. I'll take it right under the lash line. And it's so easy to use, and you can be generous on it because it's not a dark color. So it opens the eyes up and makes them look really, really cool. For the inner waterline, I think you're going to love using Alabaster. The Alabaster is astounding to me. Hold on, let me make sure that this isn't Moonstone. Yeah, this is the Alabaster. Yeah. Alabaster, look at this. You can get it and go right on the waterline, and look how it pops the eye open. It's astounding. I mean, you look at this eye compared to this one. The other eye. And it's so easy to put in there. That's the other cool thing. You don't have to push. You don't have to drag. You can put it in there. You don't. I can't even see what I'm doing when I do it, and it just goes on so smooth because they're so creamy. And then when they dry, they're there. They won't go anywhere. On the waterline, of course, you have moisture in your eye, so that'll degrade it over time, but it does have good longevity, even on the waterline.
Yes, and I also feel like it's so nice to have that brightness in the morning
Yeah.
too. It's such a struggle. At least for me, I look so tired. So
I was so happy when we launched this because you can't do white on the inner eye sometimes looks too stark. And I know we have a white pencil, which is great for special occasions when you're going out. But for every day, the Alabaster, I think, is going to be a huge seller. I think everybody's going to love it.
Agreed. Okay. So a few more questions. What blush would you have used on the model if she had wanted blush? That's from Laura.
Well, so Chris has red hair. She colors her hair kind of a burgundy bright red. So I probably would have done something like Sunset, or if she wanted to do a lighter blush, I probably would have done the new one that we recently launched called Flourish. That's like a apricot peach color. It's beautiful. It's like an orangey peach that I love going around. And right now on the runways in New York, Milan, Paris, we're seeing that trend of doing peachy tangerine apricot blushes high up on the cheeks. It's very on trend. So that would have been a great one for her.
Okay, perfect. So 2 more questions. Barbara said, I use Amazing Base in light beige. Would natural work as a bronzer? I remember a tip from years ago where you gave, where you said to use Amazing Base and Ivory in the inner corners. And then Amy is asking a similar question to repeat the combos of Pure Pressed Base shades with bronzer. She says she's fair, light.
So if first things first, if you're wearing light beige, and you want to use Amazing Base as a bronzer or Pure Pressed Base as a bronzer, natural's not going to show up because natural's almost as light beige. It's just that light beige has a little bit more pronounced of a pink undertone to it. So I would go down to suntan or to honey bronze. Honey bronze might not even show up, but suntan is a gorgeous bronzer. If you have a cool undertone, it's perfect. So suntan, Pure Pressed Base. Suntan Amazing Base might look a little dark because Suntan Amazing Base is really intense. And remember that with your Amazing Base, the loose minerals, they're not darker, but there's more pigment in them, so they come out looking darker. So a lot of people like that wear amber in the Pure Pressed Base will go up to Warm Silk, which is 1 shade lighter in the Amazing Base. If you wear Golden Glow in Pure Pressed Base, you'll probably wear Warm Sienna in the Amazing Base, and so on and so forth.
Perfect. Okay, last question from Kathy. Can you confirm again how to apply blush? So placement, what products to use? I think that's a great question that we get a lot.
Sure. Right now we're seeing blush has migrated. It used to be here in the apple of the cheek. You would see the blush. Think of the Bobbi Brown method is the way I always call it. We did the bronzer around the cheeks, and then we did the blush right here in the apple. But now what we're seeing is that blush has migrated up higher out here onto the top of the cheek and even into the temple and up here. This high-placed blush, this is nothing new. We did this back in the 70s, but that high-placed blush creates a lifted effect on the face that's really beautiful. And it also keeps the face from looking as heavy. It gives a brighter look to the complexion by pulling the blush away next to the eyes. And don't be afraid to mingle the blush with the edge of your eyeshadow so that it all kind of comes together and creates a beautiful look.
Perfect. Okay. Well, that is it for the questions. We will be giving away the full shade range of ColorLuxe Eye Shadow Sticks to a lucky attendee. So I will be reaching out via email for that.
Oh,
And
you're
it will
gonna give you're gonna give them all of them?
Yes.
Fun.
It's just
Okay, that's really cool.
one person.
Just to
It's
one
all-
person. Okay.
Yes.
One person. All of
So I'll
them.
be reaching out via email. So keep that in mind. My name is Emma Roberts. It's not spam, I promise. Well, thank you so much for watching, and thank you, Shawn, so much for educating everyone. Everyone's been loving it. And don't forget, this will be on YouTube later, probably tomorrow. So make sure to rewatch it if you'd like. And you can shop the new ColorLuxe Eyeshadow Sticks on JaneIredell.com or at your nearest partner location. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Emma. It was wonderful to see you.
Thank you,
Have a
Shawn.
great day. Bye-bye.
Bye.